month, which means it's our favorite video. I don't know about you, but definitely for me, I love the end of the month completed pages and whoops videos everybody starts making and releasing on YouTube. It's always fun to see what we've all been coloring and how our progress is. So as you can see, I've got a lot of books. Not every single book here has a completed page for May, but I have actually colored in quite a few or got started in quite a few books. Now, I've decided to just accept the fact that I really am a mood colorist, and by that I mean I color according to my mood. So I might start a page one day because I feel like coloring, I don't know, maybe it's mermaids. I feel like coloring mermaids on a particular day, and it may be a particular illustrator's mermaid, and then another day I could come back and it just won't be interesting at all, and I'll decide actually I want to color in buildings, and I'll go to a different coloring book. And I've decided that whilst I do want to make sure I keep my whips down to a reasonable level, I've decided to embrace that and accept the fact that that's just how I color. So I've picked up, on average at the moment, I usually complete about 6 pages within a month, and then I have a few whips as well. So I'm going to clear off my desk and I'm going to show you my whips first, and then I will show you my completed pages. Alright, so for my whips, I have quite a few books, as you can see here. And I'm going to go through them in no particular order, but the whips I have completed pages in I will do towards the end, so it kind of has a bit of a flow. Okay, so in Mermaid's Calm Ocean Coloring Collection by Selena Fennick, let me just zoom you in a bit more. I do have a whip, and it's this one. So I decided I wanted to do some more mermaids, and I got out the alcohol markers, Ohuhu ones, and I did the background, and I basted the background in alcohol markers, but I'm most likely going to leave the background just the way it is, but I need to work on the moon and the mermaids, and then I want to come in to all these white dots and just sort of make them look like pearls. Either that, or I'm going to use a pearl effects color and white acrylic paint or something and just white them all out. So we'll see. That's sort of what I'm planning on doing. I don't really want to do too much detailing in the background. I want the focus to be on the mermaids and the moon. So that is a whip. I honestly don't know if I'll come back to it anytime soon. But at that particular moment, I wanted to do something with alcohol markers, so that's what I did. That's what I mean by being a moody colorist. Then I have Kirby Roseanne's Worlds Within Worlds, and as always, I'm really enjoying Kirby's books. Now here I have a whip. Oopsie, just zoom you out. And I was doing this in the beginning of the month and watching the King Charles III's coronation, which I thought was really, really lovely. And yeah, I was really intrigued by the amount of symbolism within the whole ceremony. And from a historical perspective, I really enjoyed it. I like history, and a couple of my boys came in and watched bits of it with me. So that's what I was doing here. Now this side is all done with Inktense pencils, and I need to go over it again with Prismacolor and just deepen it up. And then I've used polys on the crown, and I am really pleased with the way the polys and the Prismas work on this paper. I was also really pleased to see that I could use Inktense and there's no bleed through. So that's really great, because in Fragile World I use Inktense quite a bit. So it was my first time with polychromos in a Kirby book, and I really did like how they came out. I didn't find it a very difficult to blend. I felt that the paper really worked well. So I'm starting to wonder if polychromos prefer a more smooth paper to a textured paper. But I haven't made up my mind on that yet. So that's my whip in Worlds Within Worlds, which I'm hoping to finish soon. Then in Fragile World, I have another whip. Now I'm not filming this whip because I started it with some of my one son's friends. They decided they wanted to color Fragile World pictures, so I asked them which pictures they wanted, and then we copied them onto different paper, and I was asked to do this one. So I'm currently basting it in Inktense pencils. As you can see here, I've started with Inktense, and then all this in the background is I think it's burnt umber, which I need to still activate. So I'm hoping to have this complete in June. But I also have started, again, not on camera, but if you want this page on camera, please do let me know in the comments, and I will make sure I do it. And it's the narwhal page. I found a lovely photo on Pinterest, which kind of confirmed what I suspected for this page, that these rock-like things are actually icebergs, and then I want to create a very rich and deep sort of color with a lot of white foam around it. So I've done all the narwhals. I haven't activated anything yet. I've just colored it in, and then I've started with my darkest blues. But as you can see, I've still got a way to go. And this double page spread is going to be Inktense only pencils with some white acrylic paint. So those are my two non-color along videos in Fragile World. But do let me know if you have a preference for a color along series in either Fragile World or Worlds Within Worlds. If you let me know the specific page, I will happily look at doing that for you. Next up is Circle of Life by Malpomene Chatzipanikuti. Now, I didn't start any new pages in here. I just came back to my Lighthouse page, and I did some more. So I did the circle thingies here, the birds, I did the not the castle, I did the rocks, the penguins, and the lighthouse. And then I'm busy working with Inktense here. I did Inktense here as a base, and I'm working with pencils to deepen up the water. And I'm still trying to work out how to actually color water, especially when you've got the surface water and then under the ocean. And then I'm getting a bit stuck as far as how to color the whale, so he still stands out and doesn't get lost into all the water and the blues going on here. So yeah, I'm really liking it. I think balancing the water parts is where I'm getting a little bit stuck. So hopefully I can work with this a bit more and finish it and have it done in June, so we can go on to a different page. Also in June, I want to do a page where I want to do this one, and I want to do one half a one color palette, and then the other half a different color palette. So I'm thinking if I do one half almost like a black and a white sort of look, and then maybe the other half I bring in some greens and sort of soft yellows like beiges or something. But that's going to be a real challenge just because of the finicky details in here. So yeah, that's sort of a plan. I might still change my idea on the color palette to something else, but I do need to do this for my the checklist color challenge. So that is what I've done in Circle of Life by Malpomene Chatzipanikuti. Next up is Romantic Countries First Tale by Erie, and here my whip is a color along series which I will be editing and putting up on the channel as soon as it's done. And what I've decided to do is create a color along series where I tackle pastries. And it's showing you how I do something for the first time, because I've never colored food before, especially pastries. So everything I show on my color along series is just how I'm tackling something new for the first time. So for each pastry there is going to be its own color along video, with the exception of the macaron and the dragée, which I'm going to do as one video, those two together. So that is my whip in Romantic Country, the First Tale by Erie. Then my next whip, which is also a color along series up on the channel, we're coloring this together as a live stream color along, which I'm really thrilled about, and everybody has been so gracious and kind to actually let me color this page together. So we are using polychromos, and it is this page. Everything so far has been polychromos pencils, and I'm still working on the mushrooms. I want to darken this up a bit more. It feels a bit dull, so it's not working for me. I need to work here. But I like the stalk very much, and then this color palette for this mushroom will go onto these smaller mushrooms all over here. So I'm hoping if I use the same color palette and spread it through, it will balance the page a bit more than what it feels like at the moment. So that is my whip for Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Carlson. Next up is Anastasia Ellie Calder-Reever's When Dragons Dream coloring book. Now, I had one of my boys decide that they were going to give me a coloring challenge for the summer, and the challenge is to see how many pages in this specific coloring book I can finish by the beginning of September. So he had originally picked out Circle of Life, and we said to him it was just too big. there was no ways I was going to finish Circle of Life in 3 months. So he had a bit of mercy on me and picked When Dragons Dream. And he said to me, "Mommy, you need to be coloring more in your coloring books, and this is a way to help you get more coloring pages done in one specific book." So I had a good giggle at him. And so this is my current whip. I do have quite a few in here, but this is the one I've started. I'm going to do a watercolor background, but a very deep blue, almost like a Payne's gray into an ultramarine type blue. And then I've used Inktense pencils as a base. I still need to activate it and finish it up. And then I'm thinking what I'm going to do is take pearl colors. There's a yellow pearl colors, and just do the edges, either white or yellow, and just really sparkle him up a bit. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with the fins, so I'm hoping that will come to me as I continue on this page. But I do have a completed page in here, and it actually went really well, and it is this page. I used Prismacolor pencils for this page and really tried to make sure my darks were dark and my lights were light, and I really am pleased with it. I decided not to do a background because I was really worried that if I put in the wrong background it was going to ruin the page. So I decided to just leave it the way it is. And when I looked on Instagram and Pinterest, quite a few of the pages, versions of this page had left the background as well, so I didn't feel too bothered by it. I do think maybe a very dark green background could have worked well, but I just didn't know how to really implement that in a way that would complement the page and really keep it looking wow. So yeah, I'm super pleased with it. I think the colors work. I think the way I've used it and blended it has come out really, really well. And then on the wings, in those holes, I put Dovecraft glitter glue, just a red glitter, so that it has a bit of a sparkle to it. So yeah, I've done one page and started another. So that's what I've done in When Dragons Dream coloring book by Anastasia Ellie Caldereva. And then I also completed a whip in Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. So I did the crown page in here, which has been a long-standing whip for quite a while. And it's this one. And as you can see, it is super, super shiny because of all the gold foil that I put on. Oh my gosh, I won't do that again. It is just too much. So I used initially tea bag stain in the background. Then I went over it with eyeshadow. Then I did the gold foil. Then I took glittered gel pens over the edges over here for the decor. I did go over the black lines just to redefine the crown a bit more with the fine liner. And then all the other coloring I've used Prismacolor pencils. Now, when I started this page, I really wanted to reverse how I did flowers and leaves. So I wanted the flowers to be green and the leaves to be a color. So I chose, and I also tried to stick to a limited color palette because I didn't want to go and have too many colors on here. As it is, I'm not sure if doing the green edges of the crown was a good choice, but anyway, it's done. And then there's Dovecraft glitter glue on the centers of the flowers at the base. So it's just a really, really shiny page. I have to tilt it away from my light so it doesn't blind you. I mean, look at that. So I don't like it particularly. I like the pencil work. And then my husband said to me, don't touch the background, leave the background alone, just stop, just leave it. So I listened because we were talking about making the background a dark blue. But yeah, I don't know. I think he was probably right to just leave it where it is and just walk away. Because sometimes with our art and our colorings, we can just keep changing and changing and work and work and work. And sometimes it works out and it fixes and we like the result, but other times we don't always know when to stop. So yeah, I had to stop here. But yeah, so at least it's done. And I've got about 23 finished pages in this book already, which I'm really thrilled about. So that is what I have completed in Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. Then I have my pocket size book, which ticks off one more of the coloring checklist challenges, and that was to color a page in a pocket size book. And because it's May, I did one for Mermay, so I did this one, and I decided to do them separate colors. I quite like that, and I was really proud of myself because I tried to even give her purple skin so that she didn't look the same as this other mermaid. I really tried to make them different, and I put Spectrum Noir Sparkle on their tails. And I think I used a little bit of gel pen and white Uniball Signo pen. So yeah, overall I'm pleased with how it's turned out. And it was quick coloring really, because the paper is so thin you can't do too much on it. So those are my two mermaids in 100 Hugs by Chris Riddle. Then again for Mermaid, I did something in Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denise Klett. I'm just zooming you out a bit more. And I think I've worked out how to color in this book because it's all about being fun. And you can use watercolor in here, you can use markers, you can just use whatever you want, and it just works. So I decided to go and color this page. So I used, what did I use? I think it was Arteza pencils for the water. I used mainly Castle Arts. I used Neocolor 2s for the sky. Initially I wanted to create like clouds, so that's why there's this here. It looks a bit cloudish. But I wasn't getting my head around how to do the clouds, so I just left it. I think I basted the rocks. No, I think I did the rocks in, I think I basted them in the Neocolor 2s, but I can't remember if I went over it again with pencil. And then I used some gel pen, I used Stuffcraft glitter glue, I used some paint pens, especially my white Sakura jelly roll, and I'm just trying to show you all the glitter. And I think it came out really, really well. I did use pearl colors, Gamzai Tambi pearl colors on the tail, and then Spectrum North Sparkle on the tail. I really like this combination. I think if I'd done that and moved it into the rest of her tail, it would have looked really, really cool. So for now, her tail fin sticks out. But yeah, I did use Arteza pencils for the flowers. I think I used Artezas. I vaguely remember using Artezas. And then the rest I did with Castle Arts. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It was fun. And I feel like if I just treat these illustrations in a fun way and don't faff too much about it or worry too much about it, I can experiment, and they go relatively quickly. So that's that one. So I've done 2 mermaid pages in here, and that is what I've done in Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denise Klett. Next up is Layla Dooley's The Flower Year, a coloring book. I have 2 pages in here, both of which I'm hoping will be color alongs on the channel as soon as I'm completed editing it. So let's have a look. I did the daisy with Castle Art pencils, and I did film it for you, and I used a lot of Sakura jelly roll to go over the white lines and make sure it was as white as possible. So, and then I used distress inks for the background, and I made a little bit of an error here. I really do struggle to apply the distress inks. I can get some of it smooth, and then other bits it has these like streaky lines. Even if I take this applicator on a blank piece of paper and then apply onto my coloring page, if I turn the applicator the wrong way, I can get streaks. So that's what happened here. But anyway, yeah, I think it looks all right, and it is what it is. And so I did the daisy, and I am enjoying using Castle Arts again. They are really lovely to color with, and this paper works with just about anything you give it. And then another one for the coloring checklist challenge, which was to color a page with your least favorite medium. So I decided to use the Derwent Artist pencils because I hardly ever touch them, and they are still amongst probably my least favorite pencils. So I have filmed the flowers. I did film the bird. There's just a portion of the bird where I'm not sure if I actually got the bird in frame. So the problem with coloring videos is if I move out of frame, I can't go back and redo it. So it might end up being that I only can give you the flowers. I'm really hoping I can give you the bird as well. And I really did try to create that speckled effect on the wings. And I did use a reference photo. So no, there's nothing on here except just pencil. It is completely just Derwent Artist pencil. And you can see the quality of the pencil isn't bad. So there is still a vibrancy of color. It still looks pretty. It was a lot harder to work with. I had to do a lot of layers to get the colors this vibrant. And I think if I carried on for a few more layers, it would build up the vibrancy even more. So I try to treat the Derwent Artist in the same way as I would polychromos. And that is just loads and loads of layers upon layers upon layers. So I might go back to them, I might not, but I'm not displeased with the result, although I do prefer Castle Arts, and I definitely am a Prisma girl. Right, so that is what I have completed in Layla Dooley's The Flower Year coloring book. Then we have Mythographic Magical Earth, and this was a color along series on the channel. It was for our live stream, and I will link that for you up here in the right hand corner. And we colored this page only with Inktense pencils and a paintbrush, and it took us about 11 hours to color this page, but I think it is spectacular. I used a little bit of white Sakura Jelly Roll here on the clouds, and I showed you a variety of techniques you can use with your Inktense pencils. So yeah, overall really pleased with this. And I thought of my mom a lot when I was coloring this because she loves giraffes. So I tick off color a color page with watercolor paint or watercolor. So this is my entry for that, and so that's another one on the checklist challenge done. And I think I've done about 16 challenges out of 50 for the coloring checklist challenge. So that is what I've done in Mythographic Magical Earth by Joseph Kattenbane. Next up is Jasmine Beckett Griffith's coloring book, and I finally have a complete page in here, which is a huge deal because when I tried to color the Alice in Wonderland and Snow White page, I was referring to Jasmine Beckett Griffith's picture, and I was just getting blocked. So I then decided, well, I really need to get a move on and complete a couple of more coloring checklist challenges, because it's actually June next month. It's June, and I've not even halfway in the coloring checklist challenge. So I needed to color a page with either dark fantasy or a gothic page. So I decided that because of the gloves or these fishnet sort of armbands, the boots, the necklace, it looked gothic to me. So I thought if I do a goth inspired color palette, and if I do this page, I can say I've done that challenge. So this ticks off the color a gothic or dark fantasy page, and I really like how it's come out. I even like the fact that I tried to give her nose and really create that nose, because I didn't really like the band, the gray band across the face. So I needed to just allow myself to figure out how I would approach Jasmine Beckett Griffith's illustrations. And I feel like now I've done it, so it's like, yay, I can actually do this. And it didn't take me terribly long, a couple of days, maybe about 3 days, but broken up over a week or so. and I decided I wanted to give her like that white gray kind of hair. So I also have a reference photo which I'll bring up for you. And um, then I stuck with the reds. I decided I didn't want to do blue. I wanted to do red. I wanted to be different to what Jasmine Beckett Griffith had done. So I made my my moon white instead of yellow. And the here I gave her red and pulled in her hair, gave her like red highlights, and then I brought the red into the tips of the wings. And I really like how she came out. I also like that I gave the this wooden texture. I made this wooden texture. It wasn't drawn in, so I drew that in, and I did it, and I'm really, really pleased with how I've done it. So yeah, I used a bit of Sakura Jelly Roll here in the sky, and that's it really. I think silver gel pen on the straps or buckles, maybe somewhere around here. But yeah, so that is my completed page, which I'm super proud of myself for doing. And I've also sprayed it with fixative so it doesn't leak. But I'm keeping a wax paper between my pages just to make sure there's no transfer. So I can't wait to get started on this page. This is my next project. And this will tick off the steampunk theme coloring page for the checklist challenge as well. Right, so that is what I've done in Jasmine Beckett Griffith's colouring book. Thank you so much everyone for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed looking at all my colouring pages for May and my whips. Do like, subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think. And if you have anybody who is looking to get into colouring as a hobby or is looking for a different colouring channel, do recommend me, please. It always is great to, and it helps YouTube pick up my channel on the algorithm. So thank you everyone, and I will see you in the next video. We've got a whole lot of color alongs coming up. I'm almost finished editing them, and I think you're going to really enjoy them, and I will see you in a different video. Until next time everyone, take care. Bye for now.